Good evening. Welcome to NDWG Democratic TV. Tonight, the past actions shape our future.
Mwari wetu inzwa kuchema nyika yedu yavapanguva takamira pamugano wera mangwana.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to NDWG Global TV. This is where we hear the voices on the ground and what a real conversation about the real Zimbabwe. And this afternoon, we are tackling a very critical issue, the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, and also a bigger question is Zimbabwe truly independent? And joining me this afternoon is a passionate and civil rights activist, Becky, whose journey spans grassroots activism, labor movements, and opposition politics. Becky, welcome to NDWG Global TV.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tagazuda.
Let's start with your journey, where you were born in Beitbridge West. Take us through your early life and what shaped your path to activism.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Tagazuda. I am Becky Mpilombedzi. I was born in Beitbridge. It's Beitbridge West, in a village called Toporo. My father actually is a war veteran. He was in the world liberation struggle with the Zanla forces. Actually, they are the pioneers of the struggle here in Matabeleland South, where he came from school in Manama Secondary School. They were the early children who ran away from school to go to the liberation struggle of the 70s. Then as I grew up, I would hear the history as my father told me how they fought the white minority rule. He was so passionate about a good Zimbabwe, a Zimbabwe where people would thrive at all endeavors. He was someone who grew me with that love of the country. The funny part, he loved the leader of the political party, ZANU-PF, Mr. Mugabe. He would idolize him, actually. So then I grew up, then I went to school at high school. I was at Tongwe Secondary School. Then I went to Foundation College, where I did some marketing studies there. Then from there, I did my civil rights activism. Actually, when I was working at the SPA, where I worked at the bakery there, I was one of the representatives of the Workers' Committee there. I would work hand in hand with the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions in standing for the rights of the workers. We won quite a landmark cases to do with the workers' rights in the labor unions there. Then I also served in the United Movement for Devolution. I also served in the Movement for Democratic for Change from 2013 to around 2018. That's actually my past history. Then within the communities here, I'm all known about, I am so passionate about issues of development, which is in our local authority, our councils. I'm involved with the many development committees within my community. That's basically briefly who I am as Becky Mpilombedzi.
Thank you very much. And I think you have mentioned about your father being involved in the liberation struggle at a young age. What does that mean to the young Zimbabweans?
It actually imparts the mentality that Zimbabwe was founded on a struggle which was more of the main agenda of the struggle. There was wanting to free the black people, wanted to give freedom black people across all ethnicity, across all tribes, across all spheres or professions. within the society. It was when I listened to what they wanted to achieve, it was actually social freedom and economic freedom to be able to decide wherever they are, to be able to even vote for whoever they would feel they want to be in power, to be able to decide within their leadership, within their communities, to even decide about their resources within their communities. That was like the gist of the matter. They were talking about land. They were saying land had to belong to the black man, and regardless of whether the status of that black man, it did not matter. That's actually what I see the meaning is. And whenever I speak with the young generation, I always tell them the meaning of what our fathers went to war for has been lost. My father grew up telling me that this is what we want to achieve. We wanted social equality across all social backgrounds. But then what we are seeing today, we are seeing that there is this elitism which is there in our society. We are seeing that there is that saying which goes like there are other men which are more equal than the other. That's what we are facing in Zimbabwe. So I always tell them that we by all means try unite on the principle that let's all be equal, be it to the justice system, we must be equal, be it economically in our jobs, be it in our investments, whether we want to invest, whether we want to venture into entrepreneurship. We must not find this partisan way of being served by the government in place. I think in general, that's how I kind of relate with the youth of today as I tell them about the history of my father and myself as I grow up.
Thank you very much, Becky. I just want to ask you. This is personal to you. Your father fought in the ZANU forces.
Yes,
and he idolized the leadership of ZANU in the form of Robert Mugabe. And now you are in the opposition politics. What drew you to the opposition politics?
Sorry?
What drew you to opposition politics?
What drew me to opposition politics was like what was being said by my father and what I was experiencing as the youth of the times after the 1980 independence. There were two things apart. My father was saying this. My parents were saying this. Then what I was experiencing as a youth was totally different from what they were saying and what they meant about when they saying we fought this struggle. So it was like when as I got old, I got to question myself. Issues such as there were times when they were given the 50,000 Zimbabwean dollars. It was very valuable by the time they were given. And I believe if the economic policies of the time when the people were given that 50,000 remained at the same, remained consistent until today as they were the same economic policies, maybe that the other installments which they get in each and every month as always would actually be having value even today. But it has already collapsed. Those pensioners are actually getting next to zero right now. So I'm like, what was the purpose of the struggle then? When my father was saying the struggle was to empower the citizen of Zimbabwe, was to empower every child, was to empower everyone. You find that you go to school, after you finish school, you want to prosper within your vicinity without getting out of the country, without maybe going to America or to South Africa. You want to prosper where you are in Beitbridge, whatever you were trained in, you want to prosper where you are. But you cannot prosper because the economic policies are not conducive. We see it now. You find that once you study, after studying, you are told, now you have to go look for a job somewhere. So those things are the things which actually forced me to say, I have to do opposition politics, because what my father went to war for is not what is happening on ground, is not what we are facing on a daily basis. More poverty is thriving. There is so much social inequality. We're finding that corruption is embraced. We're finding that the same systems like the labor abuses, which the people of the time would talk about. They were saying the white people would beat you up if you did not go to work. You would be punished so severely for maybe wanting to to have your own business, etc. Then I find a youth who goes to within my vicinity here in my community, if they are Chinese who have invested, you find the youth, they go to work there. When the month ends, they're given slavery wages. Then after that, whenever they complain, you find that they can be dismissed to willy-nilly, and nobody can question about it. You find that they can be abused in simple issues. You find that someone was killed just because he was shot at, just because he went to the China boss there and he asked for his overtime. You see now. So to me, on its own, that's actually what pushes me to be an opposition activist. That's what pushes me to say we need to correct this. Maybe my father had a good heart for this country. Sadly, he passed on by 1999. Maybe he had a vision for this country, but then that vision is not lived up to by people who are still surviving today within these ZANLA forces.
Thank you very much. Let's now get into today's the heart of today's conversation, Bill number 3.
Thank you.
For viewers who may not fully understand it, can you briefly explain what is it and why it matters? Bill number 3.
Okay, thank you very much. What the bill actually is actually advocating for, it is actually advocating for actually eradicating the principle that the citizens must vote for their own president. That is part of the section of the section of the bill. It is advocating that the members of parliament will have to vote for their own for the president once they are voted into power in elections. So it is actually going to do away with one man, one vote principle, which was a principle which our fathers also went to war for, which is a principle which even by 2013, when we adopted the Constitution of 2013, it was the main agenda of saying the people have to decide their leader in a ballot box, which is one man, one vote. The leader of the country is to be decided that. So actually, it is going to reverse all those gains. Then there is the part of the bill which talks about the politicization of the traditional leaders. This one actually, it is going to do away with all the principles of separation of powers, because we're talking of the current constitution stipulates that chiefs must be apolitical. Then as it stipulates that chiefs must be apolitical, the today amendment is saying chiefs must be political. The reason for chiefs to be apolitical, we're saying chiefs are the judiciary service of the traditional leaders. They are also the cultural and the traditional custodians of our communities. So to now then brand them in political regalia and political attires and partisan politics will actually defeat the whole idea of a cultural identity across all divides, across all ethnicity. That idea will actually have collapsed. And also we're going to see the control of the voting. We're going to see the control of how people are voting, because if right now I stay in my village here under the Chitauze, I am going there, maybe I'm facing a case which is going to be decided by the traditional leader there. You'll just have to say, since this Mr. Mbedzi comes from so and so political party, I have every right to decide whichever way to say about this case. So that's basically what the bill is saying. So it's going to actually kill the old idea of justice system, of the justice system. It is going to kill the idea of a free Zimbabwe, of freedom, of even freedom of expression on its own. How can I express myself as such and such a political leader in a community which is led by a traditional leader who is saying belongs to such and such a political party? I'm in the land of the Mbedzi, I'm the land of the Chitauze. Then I'm saying I belong to such a political party, when the land owner, the custodian of the land, Mr. Chitauze, is saying the land he represents such a political party. So now we are going to face a lot of problems. We are going to face a lot of anarchy, a lot of division within our communities, a lot of hate is going to be brewed within our communities. So there is also a part where they are saying they want to change the statistics gathering to do with the voter registration. They want to actually plug some part of the power which had already been instilled to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. They want to plug it back to the registrar's office, which is when I listen to it, when I look at it, it's more like a end of war to say I'm now meeting what I once met in 2007, 2008, whereby people were talking about people who voted, who had been declared dead at the registrar's office, but their IDs were voting. You see it now. So those are like the ghosts which actually wake up in me and say, hey, brother, we're heading back there. You see it now. So I think this is going to actually, all the electoral reforms which we had gained from 2013 are actually going to be reversed. All the gains of the government of national unity are going to be reversed by that amendment on its own. So that's basically and briefly or the part of the constitutional amendments which I see are very much a threat to our democracy, to our country at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For those watching us live online, you can type your comments, your questions to Bekimpilo. You'll be able to respond to them. Furthermore, Becky, there have been concerns that such amendment may weaken democracy. In your view, does Amendment Bill number 3 strengthen or weaken democracy in Zimbabwe?
Obviously, as I alluded to my previous submission, this is total weakening of democracy. We are going to see a separation of powers now becoming so difficult because we are going to see center of power being centered on one man, on the presidents only. We are going to see, even before we had those amendments, this current amendment, look how power has been centralized to the office of the president in Zimbabwe right now. Statutory instruments are crafted each and every day. We are seeing the presidential executive powers are always invoked at any time by the current president. Then I'm saying plus this amendment, if let's say this amendment goes to life, where are we going? Are we not going to total shutdown again? Are we not going to total mutilation of our democracy? Are we not going back to zero tolerance to any voice of reason? As we're seeing today, anyone to express himself within our Zimbabwe right now, to say he or she stands for such a political party, you can be victimized. We are seeing today someone just to express his or her own voice gets victimized at any time, at willy-nilly by the ruling party. So that's where we are heading. We are going back, we are reversing. We had taken, in 2013, we had taken 5 steps ahead in terms of developing our democracy and bettering our democracy. But today we are taking, I think, 15 or 20 steps backwards. And I believe eventually we might find the president actually tearing apart the constitution into half, totally declaring that he is no longer going to allow for any multi-party democracy in the land. We are going to one-party state as we are speaking. It's as simple as that.
Thank you very much, Becky. Now let's come. You are on the ground.
Yes.
This program is about voices on the ground. From your engagement with the ordinary Zimbabweans, workers, youth, rural communities, what are people saying about the governance and independence of Zimbabwe?
Actually, in the ground, there is some sense that people have been given that the notion that the independence on its own is just the day, the 18th of April, and one is to just recite what happened in the past. It's like the general populace understanding of independence. Then I meet also those who are who are actually against the idea of celebrating independence as just an event. They're saying independence has got a meaning. To say when we are saying we are independent, that simply means we are no longer dependent at something. That's the simple definition of it. So we ask, it's like the community says, you are saying we are independent. Here in Bedbridge, people depend mostly in the rural areas or even in town. We depend on imports. Almost anything you want bread, you want flour, you want basic things, basic food, you have to import. But then we are the same country which is saying we are independent. So now the meaning of independence has been lost. That's generally what the populace say. It's saying the meaning of it has been lost. We're finding our children, when we went to war, we also were talking about the free education, but we're finding children until today, you have to pay for school fees. Sadly, even after you have paid for that, those exorbitant school fees, the same children then get scattered away to go to South Africa to look for jobs. Here in Bedbridge, we have got so much reports of people drowning in the river Limpopo as they try cross to South Africa in search of greener pastures. So that's like how the general populace experience on daily basis. So the meaning of independence actually has been lost, as I say. It has been lost, and it's something. In order for it to be recovered, the people are saying we just have to reproject ourselves in a new way of thinking and approach this all of governance in a new approach. And the only new approach is to actually gather ourselves, mobilize ourselves, and then formulate an organization that can free us from this bondage. That's actually what they say.
Thank you very much for that elaborate explanation of the actual sentiments on the ground when it comes to people, how they feel about Zimbabwe. Okay, it's almost just a follow up to that one. Zimbabwe is often is described as independent, and in today's, you have already answered this question. You have said people on the ground are saying they don't feel there is independence, just symbolic, just rhetoric. But from your point of view, do you believe Zimbabwe is truly independent today?
Personally, I don't see any independence, because I also relate with the same masses which I stay within my community. That I don't think we can talk of independence when the freedoms which we gained by 2013, as simple as the freedom of expression. Maybe you want to say right now you don't agree with the government on this amendment bill, but you find that people can be sent in your home at any time, then you get beaten, then the government does not account. Right now we're hearing there is a guy, it was in Harare, it was a certain youth, is it Mona or Midzi? I'm very sorry, I can't remember, but I saw follow up on that story of that young guy who actually went to report that he had been victimized, as he spoke about challenging the amendment bill. He was victimized. Then he wanted to report to the police. Sadly, he was the same guy who got arrested at the police camp there. So where is the meaning of independence there? Where is the meaning of independence there? When such a simple thing can now escalate to someone staying in prison for almost a month or 2 months just because he had got there to report a victimization to the government, and the same government has arrested him. So where is the meaning of independence there? Where is the meaning of independence when right now, when I want just a simple job, not maybe a professionally aligned job, to be a simple to go to the industry as a laborer and working in the industry there, I cannot get that job because there are no jobs in Zimbabwe. The industry is not functioning. It's the same industry which is actually we said it's going to be powerful. They're actually talking about the ZIG policy, currency which is valueless. They're saying that money is going to empower the industry to produce, but we know we've been here. They're just it's another rhetoric again. We're going to the same misery again. We're not going to see any production. So where is independence? That's actually my point. Where is independence? There is no independence if we're still suffering as such. Where is that's my approach.
Yeah, thank you very much. I remember the young man you were talking about. Actually, he was arrested and taken to Mbare Medical State, and he was and the person who went to report a counter incident. Actually, it was about having something worth £10 being stolen, and the young man was denied bail for that £10. So
Yes.
So I remember. I think it was when we were having a conversation with Tawuya the other day, who actually elaborated on that case as well.
Yes.
Now, you are now working with the National Democratic Working Group, NDWG.
Yes.
What is the mission of National Democratic Working Group, and how is it contributing to democratization of Zimbabwe?
Okay. The National Democratic Working Group actually is a movement, a civil society organization, which is actually founded by Mr. Job Scala, who was actually incarcerated for almost 2 years for standing up for the human rights of fellow Zimbabweans. He was incarcerated actually for standing for defending a fellow citizen was murdered and butchered by the same ZANU-PF system which we are talking about, by the same regime in the opposition circles. Then he served about 2 years. So this organization, actually, the main agenda is to group all citizens within their own different spheres and their own perspective in terms of building a better Zimbabwe. It's a civil society organization which is aimed at democratizing Zimbabwe. That's why it's called National Democratic Working Group. It's there to work towards the democratization of Zimbabwe. And it is actually in a journey to allow people across all political, ethical, religious, racial groups to air their concerns and also to project their way forward in terms of what kind of a Zimbabwe do they envision. Vanoona Zimbabwe kuti vari kudai rudziko. It's actually what the National Democratic Working Group is all about. So the main agenda here is we go around canvassing people, asking them their opinions, and also allowing their opinions to be aired within the National Democratic Working Group in the journey towards formulation and a robust political party, which is aimed at freeing the masses of Zimbabwe. It is a non-racial, non-tribal, a non-religious organization which will never ever discriminate anyone on any religious grounds as an organization. It's an organization which is actually wants to finish the journey of those who went to war by 1970 and those who died around 2008, early 2000 in the name of opposition. It's an organization which is after bringing that spirit back to the people of Zimbabwe to say we can achieve it under the same thing, under thinking that we are one Zimbabwe before any political affiliation. We are the same Zimbabwe. If today in my home there is no bread and you, my brother next door, do not have bread, that simply means we suffer the same. We must never be divided on a political alliance, but what must center us is the bread, is the basket of Zimbabwe and the dream of Zimbabwe as a whole. It's basically what the National Democratic Working Group envisions to achieve in short.
Thank you very much, Becky. Before we come to the closing bit, we will not do justice by if we don't listen to you in your solo message to the masses of Zimbabwe about what you think about independence. So let's hear you speak.
Mashaka ndivombeza kanokhala Zimbabwe mbokolowa una mbokolo ine yavaone ndi yamazvifi rotobokolola vana vavamwe rotobokolola vamwe vathu kuri ne vamwe vathu the ordinary people orali auna na muthiyo vokolowa utorina mbokolo ifiyo izvo zvino chiri wagudisa mwana wawo wapedza dzikholomo na dzimbuzi midini eneko ari achiyonyaga mushumo asauwanikhala Zimbabwe toti yauri yaliwana South Africa nayo iwana America utorina mbokolo ifiyo uri enepo warwara une wavahone vayazibadhera wari kuyatoda mushumo wari kuyatodowerapiyo ungaswerapiyo udowana mishonga usina ambulance mumakumo yaunotakura une navahone ahune yauri nitakura nitodhibodera ene zvinombopolo uri vari kwaba ipiyo itori navobopolo ipiyo namusi vo munangagwa vakorera kunyagori vadzure ofisini mpaka madhuva avo aufa vakangotochinja nayo ndayotewa yaratedorana nga 2013 uri ivatendere uri vadzidzurere muvusoni mpaka une vafuna hone vha vha tshi voteliwa phalamennde mara hone uri vho voteliwa nga vhathu u vhone vha tshi khou dzhena tshiduloni ri ḓo ri ndi ifhio mbofholowo henefho vhana vha mathembeleni vha tshivenḓani vhoṱhe masuthu madevhele na matsonga zwoṱhe zwo ṱangana ndi khori a ri ṱanganani ri tendelana tshithu tshithihi ni songo ḓitswenya nga ḓuvha ḽa mbofholowo ḽa mazwivhi ḽa namusi ḽa dzi 18 ino khou vhuya ni songo vha na zwiḓitswenya nga dzi 18 April ni songo vha na ḓitswenya u bva miḓini yanu dzulani miḓini yanu nango vha vhulaya dzinḓou dzavho na dzimini dzavho henengei vha ḓo ḽa nthihi ndi khori a hu na mbofholowo ine ra vha khayo ri ḓo ri kha mbofholowo ifhio uri pfhanelo dzashu vhukuma dzi ri kha ndayotewa yashu a dzi ṱhoniphiwi na ya shuma machainani zwino ni holiswa masheleni a no nga thu muchaina u ya kona kana u vhulaya muthu wa Zimbabwe a tshi mu vhulaela uri u khou ya nga tshelede yawe muvhuso wa fana wa sedza wa to sea maḓuvha ano vhukuma ri under modern day slavery una exploitation no to italea muvhuso wa sedza dzi ḓo ri kha mbofholowo ifhio nawe nduna ndi khori hone fhungo ḽi ri hone ni songo ya nga dzi 18 dza April independence ḓi dzuleni miḓini yanu vha ḓo ḽa vhone vho munanga kona vhana vhavho na mashaka avho dzi independence dzavho dze vha ḓi itela uri ne vho khotsi yashu a huna zwe vha ḓo sokou tenda zwenezwo ri ḓo itani vho lwela uri ri sogole hayi ni songo ḓitswenya nawe nduni ndaa.
Right. Thank you very much for such a passionate presentation, and it was good that it was done in your vernacular language so that people can really resonate, can understand. I think yesterday we had a conversation with Professor Maduka, and one of the messages that he said we should begin to tell people about what this deal means in any language and in any community, so that people understand, so that when we then say to them, let's do this, they will be acting from a position, from an informed position. So
exactly.
Yeah, before we close, I want you to give, what message do you have for Zimbabweans at home, Zimbabweans in the diaspora, those in authority and those in the opposition?
What I would like to say is, from start, Zimbabwe is a great nation. Even if you listen to its national anthem, it's a nation which has got almost everything in this world we can dream about. You can talk of gold. You can talk. I mean, everything you can dream about in this world, you can find it in Zimbabwe. But the only lagging factor is the leadership. The people which are in government are the ones who are ruining the flag of Zimbabwe. I would like to say to those who are in Zimbabwe, let's keep on having this the hope that one day this Zimbabwe will be a better place. But only hoping without doing anything is not enough. We must hope at the same time, initiating thoughts, initiating practical measures towards getting our freedom. It's not only thinking about it, it's not only talking about it. Let's act towards what we mean. Then I believe one day we'll see a Zimbabwe. Those in diaspora, do not forget that back home there is a duty. Most of those in diaspora went in the name of economic freedom. You are there to cover the space of bread and butter issues. But back home where you come from your village, whether it's Mutoko, whether it's Toporo, whether it's Limpopo, that's where you belong, and that's where the development of you as an individual begins from. So in order to restore that identity, support the organizations back home in any way you can, be it financially, be it even in the social media, to air the voices there in support. It's enough. Solidarity is good enough. In the embassies there, let's see you who went there outside of Zimbabwe in search of greener pastures. Let's see you supporting those like-minded organizations when they stand up. It's not that you belong to them when you stand with them, but you belong to them in the name of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe must be above all political divides, whether in ruling party or in the opposition. What matters is Zimbabwe is to be saved by people who love it. And Zimbabwe is a great nation. Above all politics, above all individuals, which we can hate as persons. Maybe I can hate someone because he does this wrong. Maybe today I hate Mnangagwa as an individual because of what he's doing. But above that, we are all Zimbabwe. Me and Mnangagwa, we are Zimbabweans. If we can we can rise above that thinking and say, we can make this Zimbabwe a better place. I think we will be better people in this whole world, and we will be envied by many other countries. Actually, we can even change from this mode where we're always looking west for help or east for help. You'll find west and east looking in Zimbabwe to say, how can we work to better ourselves back home there in their Americas and their Chinas? So let's not give up. Let's always believe that we can make Zimbabwe great again. That's what I can basically say.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You really mentioned that the people in the diaspora has got a role to play, and I understand those in South Africa they are arranging a protest to close the borders in South Africa there, and I think those in the United Kingdom are arranging a protest on the 18th of April at the Zimbabwe House. So if you are in South Africa, get in touch with those that are arranging the protest in South Africa. If you are in the United Kingdom, join hands with those that are arranging the protest in the United Kingdom. If you are in any other country where there are no initiatives, you are there, you can start to raise concerns and gather people so that you can do something in whichever direction you find yourself in. So, Becky, thank you for coming on NDWG Global TV and sharing your thoughts and your views about your Zimbabwe. Your insights are very powerful, especially I think your observation that we are calling ourselves independent, but in your area you depend on imports from South Africa. You depend on employment from the Chinese, and you are being abused. And you, in your own words, if I can borrow them, you said modern day slavery. So how can we call Zimbabwe independent when every sphere of our lives, being socially, politically, and economically, depends on other nations? So to our viewers, as always, this has been Voices on the Ground on National Democratic Working Group Global TV. This conversation continues. Is Zimbabwe truly independent? And whose voices really matters? Are the voices of the masses matter, or is it just the voices of those in power? I am your host, Misha. Staying informed, stay engaged, and stay empowered. Until we meet again, hopefully with Becky or any other person that is really on the ground, I say good day. Thank you, Becky, for being our guest today.
Thank you, bro.
To help us grow, please give us a big thumbs up, share this video with your network, and hit that subscribe button right now.
Yeah.